early as today as well.
Tensions between Russia and Ukraine again sparking some market fears. Joining us right now is Allison Deans. She is senior advisor at Varick Asset Management, also a CNBC contributor, and Craig Hodges, who is co-portfolio manager at the Hodges Fund and Hodges Small Cap Fund. Guys, we're looking at what's been happening geopolitically, but I'd like to ask both of you, any idea why the futures are up by about 90 points for the Dow this morning? Craig, do you have any thoughts on that?
You know, not specifically. I know that we've had, several sessions of up strong and then 2 days of that and then kind of the opposite. I think it's kind of more of the same. I guess the algorithms out there are deciding on a daily basis which way the market's going to go, and we're kind of hostage to that. So on a short-term basis, of course. Right.
Allison, we talked about some of the concerns geopolitically, but if you also look at what's been happening with earnings season, some of the numbers have been better than people had expected. What do you think at this point in the earnings season?
It looks as if the trend is positive, not robustly positive, but at least tilting more positively. But I think the other thing that's going on is this merger activity at least points to confidence on the corporate level. I mean, we've been looking at corporations doing nothing and sitting on a lot of cash for years, and now all of a sudden we have over $1 trillion of merger activity. And so to me, I think it points to the fact that CEOs are feeling better about the global outlook and the economic outlook in the U.S., so that, combined with more positive earnings than expected, I think bodes well, except now we have this Ukraine issue. There always seems to be some exception.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about the M&A. I mean, what does that tell you about where we are in the bull market if this is the case? As you mentioned, it's more than $1 trillion that have been stepped up in terms of M&A activity. Why do you think executives are feeling more confident, and what does this tell us about where we are along that trend?
My sense is they're feeling better about the economic outlook. And M&A activity, I find, tends to be very good in the beginning and ends of cycle. The beginning of the cycle is when you tend to see the more accretive, rationally valued transactions. And based on how the market's reacted to a majority of these transactions, it's pointing towards the fact that these seem to be rational acquisitions that are accretive pretty immediately and tend to make sense structurally, compared with kind of panic buying towards the end of a cycle to maintain market share or continue to sustain growth as the overall environment is slowing.
Craig, would you agree with that?
Yeah, we see a lot of very positive signs. We've got our 7 analysts that do about 2,500 company touches every year, so we don't really go with any one single data point that's out there, but we see a very kind of optimistic terms. Margins are holding up well. Earnings are holding up well. There's a healthy mix of pessimism and anxiety, and along with some optimism. So we kind of think we're in a stock picker's market, and in these slow growth environments, it's fairly easy to find the companies that are growing at a little superior rate.
Well, let's talk about a couple of companies you like then. Which ones would jump out at you?
The couple areas we like: the energy area. We see some things, and one of my favorite stocks there is Hercules Offshore, trading at a very low multiple. We also like EnLink, the combination of Crosstex and Devon's midstream business. We should see a 20% growing company there for the next 5 years, plus dividends increasing. And there's a lot of industrial names, Trinity Industries, Eagle Materials, which trade at very low multiples and have, we think, peak earnings over the next couple of years. We're trading at a very low multiple, below 10 times earnings. So there's a lot of opportunities. It's not obvious, but when you're doing the underlying research out there, there are names to look at.
All right, Craig, Allison, I want to thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Okay, just getting something ready. All right, another